Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of December 6, Friday. I am Royce Snagit. Jump-starting today's rush with President Duterte being briefed on the aftermath of Tisoy's damage in the country, particularly in the Bicol region. Duterte flew to Albay on Thursday along with some cabinet members. He commends the preparation done in the region, which resulted in minimized casualties. According to the initial report by the DENR, the death toll from the typhoon has climbed to 13, 3 of which were recorded in Camarines Norte.
Everyone knew what to do before, during, more than satisfied with the performance of government.
President Duterte also assured the public that there is more than enough money to go around for the rehabilitation of the typhoon-affected areas. The president directed government agencies to submit assessment reports in order to come up with a comprehensive plan for the rehabilitation fund.
I'm sure there is always money for that, for all of these things that's happening now. The only thing is fast.
In addition, Duterte instructed the Department of Agriculture and the DSWD to provide necessary relief assistance to fisher folks and families affected by the typhoon. He also vowed to build 2,000 homes for the affected residents near the Gulf of Albay. Damage from Typhoon Tisoy in Sorsogon is estimated at around 670 million pesos, while damage in Albay is seen at 29 million pesos. After sustaining heavy damage from Tisoy, the province of Sorsogon is now asking for government assistance to get back on their feet. Jenny Dongon has the story.
Official reports show that 3 people drowned in Bulan, Sorsogon after Typhoon Tisoy hit the area. Among them, the husband of Corazon Kiambao, who had been bedridden. Corazon tried to swim to her husband to save him, but the current was too strong.
Pinulikat na ako. May naimod ako na nagpa-flashlight nasa lubong ko doon sa bukid. Pero hanggang din ang tubig, sumisingap-singap na ako. Sinikap ko man na may ligtas, pero di ko naging kinaya dahil ako malulunod naman.
The town of Bulan may not have been the main target of the typhoon, but it was severely devastated nonetheless. 39 people were hurt and around 12,000 homes were destroyed. Several infrastructures were damaged, totaling 30 million pesos, including schools and government offices.
Ang bayan ng Bulan ang isa sa pinakamalakas na tinamaan ng bagyong Tisoy. In fact, nakaranas kami ng 11 to 12 hours na violent hagupit ng at least up to 200 kilometers per hour. And so, ngayon maraming distraction sa amin.
The town of Bulan is now asking national government for aid. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
Tropical Cyclone Tisoy is now out of the Philippine area of responsibility, but parts of northern Luzon may still experience possible flash floods and landslides. That's because of the tail end of a cold front, which is bringing some rain over Cagayan Valley and Cordillera. Like what I said earlier, these areas may experience possible flash floods and landslides. With water concessionaires again being the subject of ire for the president over so-called disadvantageous contracts, one lawmaker is proposing to scrap the 1997 concession agreement entirely. Shaila Francisco tells us who.
The president has ordered the Justice Department to craft new contracts with Manila Water and Maynilad after the DOJ found onerous provisions in the contracts they signed in 1997. But the lawmaker is suggesting, why not scrap the agreement altogether? For House Deputy Majority Leader Bernadette Herrera, the two firms have already violated provisions of the deal when it asked consumers to pay for projects like the Wawa Dam and some sewage treatment facilities that have yet to start. Add to that, Herrera claims advertising costs are passed on to consumers.
That is the number one violation. Nag-advance collection sila sa atin. Sinasabi nila hindi ito advance collection.
She says the two firms should be considered public utility companies and undergo government audit. As per Maynilad, it's up to the MWSS Regulatory Office to decide on whether or not expenditures by the concessionaires can be passed on to consumers through the water rates.
They also decide which can be charged and which cannot be charged to the customers.
So there's definitely no economic sabotage as alleged by some people in government?
From our point of view, we have been doing our jobs. We have been contributing to nation building.
Amid calls to cancel the agreement, the group Bagong Alyansa Makabayan says it's about time the government take back control of water resources from the concessionaires.
Sa tingin namin kasi, hanggat ang prevailing policy ay privatization at hanggat ang kausap mo ay mga kumpanya na ang operations ay para kumita, private profits, kahit ano pang kontrata yan, magkakahirapan tayo.
As ordered by Singapore's Permanent Court of Arbitration, the government has to pay Maynilad and Manila Water over 10 billion pesos for non-implementation of rate hikes. The DOJ says they will not receive a centavo.
In effect, you are depriving the government to exercise its police power to regulate the charging of fees for services na mayroong impact on the public.
The DOJ, through its review, earlier questioned the lack of government's police powers under the agreement and the extension of the contracts in 2007 when the original deal expires in 2022. The DOJ has formed an 18-man team to help draft the new deal. They are also investigating the people behind the crafting of the original contracts. Shyla Francisco, WR1 News.
But apart from our water issues, environment experts say there's another problem we should be worried about, especially here in the metro, a looming garbage crisis. Shyla Francisco is back with this report.
We are now in the middle of a garbage crisis.
This is how Environment Secretary Roy Simato described the situation in Metro Manila after months of rehabilitating Manila Bay. With an estimated population of 12.8 million, Metro Manila has a target waste generation of only more than 58,000 cubic meters. But in the first half of the year alone, over 60,000 cubic meters of waste has been produced. One problem, says Simato, the informal settlers beside creeks, over 55,000 of them.
After we clean up, just leave behind a clean shoreline. After 1 day, 2 days, nandiyan na naman. So meaning, it's a culture behavior problem because despite our warning to them that don't throw anything in the, nandiyan na naman.
San Juan and Quezon City have been singled out as problem areas, particularly San Juan River.
Pagpasok ko pa lang noon, nagpunta kasi ako, in-inspect ko yan eh. Right, nung nag-boat ako, pumunta ako sa hindi pa ako masyadong lumalapit doon, nangamoy na. At saka yung nakakalat na yung mga garbage doon. So, saan kayo nanggagaling ang mga ito? Nanggagaling sa mga esteros coming from Quezon City at saka right in San Juan.
The river is slated for rehabilitation by January. QC Mayor Joy Belmonte will be monitoring if the waste and creeks are indeed from the city.
Lahat ng mga river systems interconnected yan diba? Hindi naman ng isang city, isang river.
Single-use plastics are no longer allowed in the city starting February next year, while the ban on plastic bags will take place in January.
Yung goal naman natin is to reduce wastage na So ang gusto nating goal ay masanay na kayo, magdala na kayo ng recyclable bags niyo every time you go to the markets.
The DENR hopes to emulate this with their own order in the next 2 weeks. For now, they've tapped more than 1,000 personnel to collect trash in narrow and tight areas.
I think within the next 2 weeks, siguro may na namin yung department order prescribing already the use of plastic.
But instead of banning, Senator Cynthia Villar suggests recycling as it helps with employment.
When you say a ban, may kapalit ba sa packaging? That's the question. So we have to hear them kung ano ang alternative nila sa single-use plastic.
There are now bills in Senate banning plastic. A hearing of which may happen in January. For now, Villar notes the DENR was given a budget for 2020 to help local governments set up plastic recycling factories in all cities and provinces. Shyla Francisco, WR1 News.
Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Public Works Secretary Mark Villar isn't abandoning the challenge to cut travel time from Makati to Cubao through EDSA to just 5 minutes. Villar told the Philippine Star that he would rather leave a legacy of easing the monstrous traffic in EDSA rather than re-enter politics when President Duterte's term ends in 2022. Villar admitted, though, that the plan may not happen by year-end as originally promised by the president. The Freeman reports that President Duterte is set to return to Cebu on December 14, and that's for the launching of the 500-day countdown to the 500-year celebration of the historic Battle of Mactan in 2021. During the event, Duterte is expected to deliver a speech at the Hoops Dome by 6:30 p.m., while a live feed of the simultaneous landmark lighting in Manila, Davao, and Lapu-Lapu City will also be shown at 6 p.m. And this from Filipino Star ngayon. SEA Games gold medalists will be receiving 10 million pesos each as an incentive from the House of Representatives. Fishgok Chairman and House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano said this will come straight from the lawmakers' paychecks from January 2020 to recognize the athletes for the pride and honor they have brought to the country. That's on top of the rewards our winning athletes are set to receive from the Philippine Olympic Committee. Ride or die, that was Jermaine Prado's motto as she raced her way to the top of the women's road cycling event. Here's the story.
The sun was out and the sky was cleared for the start of the Women's Road Cycling Individual Time Trial Elite in the 30th Southeast Asian Games. The 23.1-kilometer course started in Nasugbu, Batangas and ended in Tagaytay. And it was Jermaine Prado who crossed the finish line first, clocking in at 44 minutes and 44.742 seconds. The pride of Pagbilao, Quezon pushed so hard, she collapsed at the end of the grueling race due to exhaustion.
Nag-collapse po ako dahil tinodo ko na po eh. Sobrang hirap. Pero paid off po lahat ng sakripisyo po namin.
Her first ever win in the biennial meet didn't come easy at all. She encountered a number of problems just minutes before the race began.
A hitch before the race, about 45 minutes before the race, because the time trial bikes of Marela Salamat and of the gold medalist Jermaine Prado were almost non-regulation. They were for triathlon. They were triathlon bikes, but later the panel of commissars agreed to allow the riders to use the bikes, provided that they remove at least 2 contraptions dun sa bicycles.
But she soldiered on and followed her simple game plan. Ride as if there's no tomorrow.
In-all out ko na po lahat kasi naniniwala po ako na wala nang bukas. Ibigay na yung best. Dahil sabi nga po ng coach ko, di bali lang mamatay. Huwag lang mapahiya sa sariling bansa.
Her win added a 3rd gold medal to the country's haul in cycling after the sweep of the mountain bike downhill events last Tuesday.
The Philippines is still on a roll as we continue our gold rush at the 30th Southeast Asian Games with 63 golds. That's on top of 45 silvers and 32 bronzes for a total of 140 medals just this week. But Indonesia, with its 104 medals, is now closing in on Vietnam for 2nd place.
Powered by Smart.
It's almost the most beautiful night in the universe once again, and our Miss You Bet, Gazini Ganados, is more than willing to get back-to-back crown. Gazini is now in Atlanta, Georgia for the preliminary competition of the 2019 Miss Universe pageant happening December 6 at 8 p.m. U.S. time. But even before that, Gazini has been busy as well, showing off Philippine textiles and outfits made by Filipino designers. Gazini also posed for pictures with 2018 Miss Universe Catriona Gray ahead of the competition. Hopefully, that will bring in some good luck. Meanwhile, Miss Universe Philippines whipped up a 2-minute short feature, featuring Gazini Ganados going on an adventure around the Philippines while telling the story of her life. Let's watch this.
Be stronger, see further, and go higher. So I'll glide with all my might and purpose, I have reached the peak of the mountain against all odds. Here, I hold the universe in my eyes.
And did you know that we can do something to ensure that the Miss Universe crown remains in the Philippines? The Miss Universe organization announced that the global audience can cast one free vote per person. We can vote for Gazini for free by just clicking on the green star in front of her name through the official site. That's at vote.missuniverse.com. But we have to hurry though because the voting period is only until today. And that's how today is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. For Risa Diaz, I am Royce Nagit. We are One News.